أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Honored guests, members of the ulama, recipients of the Masjidul Quds Lifetime Community Service Award, all of the members of Parliament who are present here today, brothers and sisters of various faiths, I greet you with the universal greeting of love and peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator and our sustainer. Choicest blessings and salutations upon the prophets Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Prophet Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, Prophet Moses, Musa alayhi salam, and Prophet Abraham, Ibrahim alayhi salam. We are gathered here today to honor 14 members of our community. Moulana Ihsaan Hendricks, Moulana Ali Adam, Mrs. Farida Omar, Mr. Farid Sayed, and a group of 10 dynamic, I would refer to them as young women, representing the Masjidul Quds Ladies Council. We are here to thank and honor them for serving humanity and their community with unwavering commitment. And in doing so, they have inspired many other people to follow in their footsteps. These are individuals who have made significant contributions in their various fields and has touched many, many lives along the way. Madiba said beautifully, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we are alive. It is what difference we have made in the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life that we have led. With that in mind, it is therefore an absolutely great pleasure and a huge honor for me to extend a warm welcome on behalf of the Imams of Masjidul Quds, the trustees, as well as the committee, to the 27 Lifetime Community Service Awards hosted by Masjidul Quds. A special welcome to our mothers and our sisters who are here today, and our young daughters, our future mothers and sisters. As you are all aware, it is National Women's Day today. And so really this is a very special event for us to be hosting so many women here today. And what a better way to commemorate that very important historic day in 1956 when 20,000 women marched on the Union buildings protesting against the then passed law. We are well aware that women have played a pivotal role in shaping the history of this country. Allow me to quickly sketch an overview of the proceedings for tonight's program. We will officially open the program immediately after this with a recitation from the Holy Quran by Hafiz Ali Pangaka. He will then also render a dua on all of those who are not feeling well, and also a dua on all of those previous members of the society and the masjid and the musallis who has passed on. We also want to remember Dr. Jaffer, a senior trustee of Masjidul Quds, who's not in the best of health, when you make your dua. After that, inshallah, we will then have a short break, and we will be serving some harira, Moroccan soup, I believe. So that will come in, and inshallah, that will last up until 6 o'clock to keep the tummies warm. We will then, after the soup has been served, have the official awards ceremony. My chairperson, the chairperson of the trust board, Brother Sattar Parker, will be officiating that part of the segment, and that will then take us up to Maghrib. Around about that time, inshallah, I'll give you a little bit more about the overview of the rest of the program. In the meantime, right now, I call upon Hafiz Ali Pangaka to do a recitation from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما كان على النبي من حرج فيما فرض الله له سنة الله في الذين خلوا من قبل وكان أمر الله قدرا مقدورا ما كان على النبي من حرج فيما فرض الله له سنة الله في الذين خلوا من قبل وكان أمر الله قدرا مقدورا الذين يبلغون رسالات الله الذين يبلغون رسالات الله ويخشونه ولا يخشون أحدا إلا الله وكفى بالله حسيبا ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين وكان الله بكل شيء عليما صدق الله العظيم الفاتحة أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا واغفر لنا فإنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا اللهم من أحييتهم منا فأحيهم على الإسلام ومن توفيتهم منا فتوفهم على الإيمان اللهم لا تحرمنا أجورهم ولا تفتنا بعدهم واغفر لنا وارحمنا معهم. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وسكنهم في الجنة. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وادخلهم في الجنة. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وروحهم في الجنة بخير يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة. ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. قال الله تعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. Hafiz Ali Pangaka, mashallah, an absolutely beautiful, melodious voice and recitation of the Holy Quran. Been blessed with both the secular world and the Islamic studies. He serves as the current treasurer of Masjidul Quds and has served the masjid for many, many years. We make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you good health, iman and taqwa, inshallah. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a short break. The Moroccan soup will be served. I've been told it's an absolutely delicious soup to have on this beautiful winter's afternoon. Those of you who have had it before will know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who will be trying it for the first time, I'm sure that you will absolutely enjoy it. It is referred to as harira, if I correctly announce it. Harira. Sheikh Sadullah has told me, harira, that will now be served. We'll take a break for 10 minutes, inshallah, then we will start with the rest of the program. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about ready to move into the next segment of our program, the awards ceremony. But before I start with that, alhamdulillah, we've had many, many calls today. And I'd like to just talk about two people who has phoned us and phoned myself. First, Haji Idris Roika, who has asked me to wish Moulana Ali Adam Mubarak and the rest of the awardees. He misses you. He so much wanted to be here and he's wished us well. Also, Mr. Salih Noor, he so much also wanted to be here. He's in India and unfortunately could not be here today. He's wished us well. He's conveyed his salams and greetings to all of his family and friends. It now gives me absolute great pleasure to call upon what undoubtedly has been the driving force behind today's event, the fuel in the engine of the Masjidul Quds committee and the trust board. So he keeps us on our toes. He sometimes gives me gray hairs. When I joined the committee 10 years ago, there was not one gray hair. I don't know if you can see on the OBED projector, but I'm slowly going gray. He keeps us young, he keeps us energized. He's the chairperson of the Masjidul Quds Trust Board, and he'll be officiating the next part of the program. Gives me great pleasure to call upon Haji Sattar Parker to take over from here. Thank you very much.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم أما بعد. Respected and honored recipients, Mr. Pravin Gordhan, our chief guest of honor, members of the current cabinet and former members of the cabinet. We're expecting Judge Siraj Desai here in a short period of time. Members of the ulama, and I'm very happy to see so many of them here today. Respected elders, ladies and gentlemen, and our youth. The greeting is a very simple one, but it's a very profound one. It's the greeting of peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. It is indeed an honor, a pleasure, and above all that, an absolute privilege to be able to officiate this segment of the program. May I just take you back exactly 3 years ago to the day and possibly to the hour when we assembled at the Cape Town Convention Center and we honored 5 luminaries in the community on that occasion, them being Sheikh Amin Faqih, Imam Yusuf Pandi, Mrs. Maimuna Sayed, Al-Marhum Janab Abdul Shukur Kais, and the late Al-Marhum Janab Mr. Abdullah Gangreka Sahab. And I want to take this very important opportunity to pay special tribute to Mr. Abdullah Gangreka, being among the founding fathers of the Gatesville Mosque, the Masjidul Quds Institute, a man who had so much drive and passion and zeal for the promotion of this masjid from an ordinary 600 capacity mosque to the mosque that it is today, accommodating on big occasions more than 6,000 people. We make dua to Almighty Allah, we pray to our Creator that He must grant Haji Abdullah Gangreka and all those people who have passed on that had some connection with the mosque, as well as all those in your family and my family, a very, very high place in Jannah, a very high abode in the hereafter, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have assembled here to pay tribute, acknowledge, and honor people who have sacrificed their life for this wonderful community that we have in Cape Town. You can do the statistics on your own, but in my estimation, collectively, they have sacrificed more than 400 years of their life towards what we say in the Urdu language, the khidmat of the qawm, the service of humanity. Before we commence, the procedure will be a very simple one. There will be a 3-minute introduction, followed by the presenting of the actual award, and after that, a 3-minute acknowledgement and acceptance speech. The reason I'm saying that is twofold. One is that the evening prayer session, the waqt of Maghrib, has to be performed on time, and therefore, in the life of a Muslim, everything revolves around the 5 times that we need to pray. And secondly, that our chief guest, Mr. Pravin Gordhan, needs to catch a flight at 7 o'clock. We're trying to organize a helicopter for him from here to the airport. Hopefully, we can sort that out for him as well. After that, we will have supper. We have an internationally acclaimed violin player all the way from India. He's come here to grace the occasion tonight. And I'm sure that in the first part of his performance, which will be some very beautiful spiritual items, and thereafter some items more for the young people, items in the form of music that all of us, I hope, are going to appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, our first awardee for tonight, a gentleman humble to the fingertips, born in Transkei, primary school in Durban, high school, many of you will be happy to note, was at the iconic Trafalgar High School in Cape Town, thereafter proceeded to Lucknow, the city in India known for the beautiful Urdu language. He returned back to South Africa, pursued for 3 years a Bachelor of Education degree, and his ustad gave him the injunction, promote knowledge both in the secular as well as in the Islamic frame world. And that is what he has done throughout his life. Together with the then President of the Muslim Judicial Council, the late Mr. Sheikh Nazim Muhammad, may Allah grant him a very high place in Jannah, he established a college in Wynberg. And among the many people that attended that college was the Imam of Masjidul Quds, Sheikh Fuad Isaacs, who's not here today because there's a janazah in his family. In 1983, he teamed up with a group of people headed by the late Mr. Abdul Razak Osman. His wife is with us today. May Allah grant him also a very high abode. And the team of people around him at the time, when they established the Habibia Girls College at the Habibia Complex in Rylands, followed by the Habibia Boys College, and then the Habibia Primary School. In 1999 came the momentous event when they moved to that iconic campus in the Imam Harun Avenue, Lansdowne, where there are more than 1,650 learners getting both Islamic and secular education every year. There's also a class that has 120 pupils learning and memorizing the Holy Quran. And our recipient told me very happily that when the matric results come out, those students from that 120 class of his students, they excel, many of them with an A pass. He then proceeded to establish the Two Oceans Education Foundation, establishing similar satellite educational institutions in places like Mitchell's Plain, Manenberg, Observatory, and as far afield as Innerdale in Gauteng. Ladies and gentlemen, in the year 2010, the University of Gloucestershire in the United Kingdom conferred the title of Honorary PhD upon our first recipient tonight. At the age of 75, he has one final wish, and that is to establish an Islamic university in South Africa based on the Islamia model, where we can impart both secular and Islamic education. May I please ask you to put those lovely hands of yours together as we call onto the stage our first recipient tonight, Moulana Ali Adam of the Islamia Institute. Moulana will be escorted by Mr. Kamaluddin Parker, Mr. Haji Ibrahim Badruddin, and Haji Mahmoud Osman.
Good evening and assalamu alaikum to all. First and foremost, I must thank the Imams, the trustees, and the committee members of Masjidul Quds for considering me for this award. And basically, I want to dedicate this award to two gentlemen who helped to start what is Islamia College today. And that is firstly Haji Suleiman Bayat, and secondly Haji Abdul Razak Osman. And I acknowledge the presence of most of the trustees of Islamia here tonight, and in particular Haji Abdul Razak Osman's wife, who is here. Just one message before I conclude, and that is any form of transformation or revolution or change in this world can only come about by the promotion of education, not by elections and not by no confidence votes. Thank you very much.
I told you, ladies and gentlemen, a gentleman to the fingertips, but a man of immense knowledge and absolute wisdom. Can I please ask you once again for your hands for Moulana Ali Adam? Thank you so much. Our second recipient, it gives me great pleasure to call upon a man who is loved not only in Cape Town, but all over our beloved country, as well as many parts of the world, for the manner in which he imparts Islamic education and the wisdom in the Deen of Islam to people, whether you are within the house of Islam or whether you are not within the house of Islam. To introduce our second recipient, it gives me great pleasure to call upon Sheikh Saadullah Khan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the peace, the mercy and the blessings of the Almighty be upon each and everyone present here on this auspicious occasion. And I begin with a question. How does one honor someone who not honestly only reported, but also honorably reflected the noble struggle against apartheid in these darkest days? One who served as the founder chairperson of the Cape Town chapter of the Union of Black Journalists and executive member of the Media Association of South Africa, editorial committee member of the Hospital Welfare and Muslim Education Movement, foundation management committee member of the Imam Abdullah Haroon Education Trust, anchor of Radio 786, the long-running morning drive time program, executive member of the Thornhill Residents Association, once chairperson of the Masjidul Quds Parent-Teacher Association. How does one honor one who coached many people like Rafiq Ruhan, Anis Sali, Adil Bredlow, Aisha Ali, and many others, and who himself was coached by the legendary James Matthews, one who was among the earliest journalists to analyze the phenomena of the broader struggle in our country beyond the narrow narrative of black and white, one who was at the cutting edge of groundbreaking media projects with a view to creating greater understanding of faith traditions by co-editing, for example, the South African Outlook, a monthly publication that was concerned with an ecumenical approach to the issues that face the community. One under whose editorship Muslim News not only raised global issues and concerns pertaining to the Muslim community, but also courageously tackled issues locally, issues that related directly to oppression, to injustice and exploitation, attempting to remind Muslims in particular, like the first editor, Imam Abdullah Haroon, did, that out of the concern and welfare of those who are around us, the destiny of people of faith are intertwined with the well-being of the rest of the oppressed. I had the pleasure of serving with him as co-editor of Muslim News. I held on to his post as editor when Muslim News transformed to Muslim Views, and also served with him as a member of the board at Muslim Views. And of course, we were together involved in the founding of the Islamic College of Southern Africa at Masjidul Quds in 1990. I therefore thank Masjidul Quds for affording me the privilege, as I'm indeed tremendously honored, to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to a faithful comrade, a genuine brother, a selfless friend, a man of substance whose pen served as an echo of conscience, a magnificent human being, and of course, an outstanding journalist, Brother Farid Sayed. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good evening to you all. to our honored guest, Member of Parliament, Mr. Pravin Gordhan, and all the members of Parliament who are here, our ulama, and my fellow awardees. It is indeed an honor. I just heard the citation for Moulana Ali Adam, and I wonder how do I fit in that particular category. But indeed, to the Imamate of Masjidul Quds, the Board of Trust and the committee, my heartfelt appreciation and thanks for this honor which I'll deeply cherish. I truly feel overwhelmed, and I think it gives us and those who have passed as journalists an impetus to continue the work that we do. And I speak particularly here from the perspective of community journalists. Community media in this country has, for years, even during the time of apartheid, been under siege. But being a lifetime award, I would just like to mention a few people in the few minutes that we have that I would like to share this award with. And today being National Women's Day, I think it is appropriate that I start off with 3 women in my life who have contributed so much. First, my late mother, someone who taught us the values of love and compassion. May Allah grant her the highest place in Jannah. And then my sister, who is here tonight, she's not one who attends social functions as such, but I'm honored by her presence. Me being the last of 7 siblings, she being the only sister, I was quite a handful for her. And my mother, of course, widowed for 42 years, and my sister really played an important role in my life. And then, of course, to my wife and my soulmate and companion for the past 35 years. Someone who went through the challenges that we faced, particularly at the establishment of Muslim Views, I beg your pardon, where we actually operated from a bedroom. And it was really a struggle, but a struggle that we survived. And I, of course, don't want to forget my other siblings, my brothers, who have also been very supportive. Sheikh Saadullah mentioned Mr. James Matthews, my mentor, my guide. He was not only my journalism mentor, but he was also, in a sense, my political mentor. He mentioned the Thornhill Residents Association, and I'm deeply honored that sharing the evening with me is Auntie Farida Omar, because the late Uncle Dalla Omar was also a political mentor, and as a member of the Thornhill Residents Association, and in other interactions, he once told me that as Muslim News, we had more, the publications that were banned, you always used to joke that we kept him busy writing to the Publications Control Board, appealing those banning orders, which didn't mean much really, but he was always by our side. So I would like to honor the late Dalla Omar today. And I would like to make a special mention of my colleagues, the Board of Muslim Views. First of all, Mr. Sharif Hassan, who has steered the ship through stormy waters, my colleague, Mahmoud Sangle, Mr. Shahabuddin Romani, Dr. Ilyas Parker, and of course, my dear friend, Sheikh Saadullah Khan. And finally, I want to share this award, as I said at the outset, with community media. And I think it's a very important recognition that Masjidul Quds has done, not for me, but I think for community media. Community media was very vibrant during the years of apartheid. As Sheikh Saadullah mentioned, there were numerous others. Grassroots, for example, in the Western Cape. Samstan in Oudtshoorn. Newspapers that fell by the wayside. We, in fact, had the minister, the current Minister of Economic Development, Mr. Ibrahim Patel, who edited the Logria News, and the kind of role it played in really uplifting the community and really speaking for the community, being a voice of the community. So my appeal here today to you as guests, and I thank you for being here present to honor us, my appeal to you is support for the community media and a call on government agencies to play a transformative role, to play their role. If they are serious about media transformation, then community media is where our future lies, in uplifting communities and in conscientizing communities. Once again, my thanks to Masjidul Quds, the committee, the imamate, and the trustees. Deeply appreciated, and it's an award that I'll certainly cherish.
Thank you very much, Farid. Richly deserved. Zaitun, I was just worried for a moment when you said there are 3 women in my life. Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to now introduce our 3rd recipient. Born in the Boland town of Worcester, schooled there as well, received a tremendous amount of inspiration from his initial ustad, Sheikh Muhammad Shah Khan, spent 3 years studying at the Darul Uloom in Newcastle, 1983. Again, another person from our shores left for the city of the Urdu language in India, the city of Lucknow. His great inspiration in terms of a teacher has been Sheikh Abul Hassan Ali al-Nadwi. He returned to South Africa in 1993 again, went to yonder shores, to the International University of Malaysia, where he did his postgraduate studies. The defining moment in his life was an incident which is the blot on the history of each and every human being on this planet. The massacre of people in the Sabra and Shatila squatter camp, refugee camp, killing thousands of Palestinians. He read the book on that incident and thereafter dedicated his entire life with passion, zeal, and vigor for the freedom of the people of Palestine. He has attended many, many international conferences fighting this noble cause, among them one in Palestine itself, known as the Maharajan, where more than 50,000 people assemble, and the event that he attended was the one seeking the freedom of Sheikh Raid Salah, known as the Nelson Mandela of the Middle East. He also served 2 terms as the president of the Muslim Judicial Council, and before that, 7 years as its deputy. He has an ambition. He says before he closes his eyes, and may that day be very, very far away, inshallah, he says he would like one day, sooner than later, to see the freedom for the people of Palestine. Ladies and gentlemen, our next recipient really needs no introduction whatsoever when it comes to the cause of the people of Palestine. Your hands for Moulana Ihsaan Hendricks. Can I call upon Dr. Abdul Wahab Barde and Hafiz Mahmoud Khatib to kindly do the honors.
It is extremely difficult to receive an award for the Palestinian cause when we all are aware that the biggest award for the Palestinian people will only be the day that we see freedom and liberation. And so I accept this award with the greatest sense of responsibility that we will not rest and sleep until the Palestinian people see their freedom and their liberation, inshallah. I dedicate this award to my elderly mother, who is still alive at the age of 80, who has been the greatest inspiration to me, who taught me, and who showed me outstanding qualities of leadership. I recall on one occasion, having been interrogated by the Zionist occupation authorities when I led a delegation to the Maharajan of Al-Aqsa. And when I called my mother, she said to me, "This is not the time to cry. Remember the cry of the Palestinian people, remain solid and strong, and freedom will come one day, inshallah." I equally share this award with our mothers, our sisters, and the women of Palestine. I was reminded by an elderly Palestinian lady who told me once and said, because of the brutality of occupation, رِجَالُنَا كَالْجِبَالِ, our men have been forced to become like mountains of resistance. وَنِسَاؤُنَا كَالرِّجَالِ, and our women have been compelled to take the position of men. And so Palestine will only be liberated by the resistance of the people of Palestine against the yoke of Zionist occupation. Shukran, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Truly and absolutely amazing human being. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your hands for Moulana Ihsaan Hendricks. Our second last recipient tonight, ladies and gentlemen, gives me great pleasure to call upon one of the co-imams at Masjidul Quds, who has a very, very long relationship with that mosque in Cape Town. I call upon our co-imam, Sheikh Abdul Rahman Alexander, to introduce our Ladies' Council before we present the award to them.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in wa ba'd. Honorable ulama, my respected elders, distinguished guests, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it gives me great pleasure and indeed great honor to call upon the next recipient of our Lifetime Award. And I just want to remind you that approximately 14 centuries ago, when the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, appeared on the world scene, the world was godless and no respect for women. And in that climate, the Holy Prophet said, Al-Jannatu tahta aqdamil ummahat, that paradise lays at the feet of every mother. And because we know that every woman is a potential mother, therefore paradise is at the feet of every woman, and every woman must be respected, for every woman is a masterpiece of the creation of Almighty God, Allah. And as we celebrate and commemorate Women's Day and honor our women, we today pay special tribute and we salute a special group of 10 ladies who form the Masjidul Quds Ladies Council. Every Tuesday, I am witness to the fact how hard they work to feed approximately 5,000 people on a weekly basis. On a Tuesday morning when I run my Housewife Forum class, we are entertained with the most beautiful aroma of soup and beautiful food, but that's unfortunately all that we get, the aroma. But we are comforted by the idea that that food actually goes away out of the precincts of Masjidul Quds to feed the hungry bellies of approximately 5,000 people every single week. Personally, to the Ladies' Council, I salute you. May Almighty Allah grant that you continue your good and sterling work for many more good years, inshallah, and may Allah crown all your noble efforts with resounding success. And we call upon Auntie Mariam Badruddin to accept the award on behalf of the group, but I would like to ask all the members of the Ladies' Council also to come to the stage, please. They deserve your best round of applause.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. Can we also call upon Mrs. Aisha Bibi Parker, Mrs. Faiza Surway, and Mrs. Zaibunisa Sonde to kindly accompany them as well. And also Auntie Maimuna Titi, we'd like you on stage as well. Thank you. Titi?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran so much for this award. We did it for the sake of Allah, not for the awards. But thank you very much. And I also want to share all this with the ladies, with their husbands, our husbands, because if it wasn't for them, they can't leave their homes in the morning to come and cook. And there's somebody that I need to mention tonight, and that is Sheikh Saadullah Khan. He started the soup kitchen with me. Shukran.
Your award. Chichi. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our final recipient tonight, a stalwart in her own right, the surname synonymous with fighting good over evil, born into the values of freedom and justice, wife of the late Mr. Abdullah Dalla Umar, may Almighty Allah grant him a very high daraja in Jannah, inshallah, South Africa's first Minister of Justice. And I need to just mention the connection between Marhum Dalla and Gatesville Mosque. That iconic day when elections took place on the 27th of April, he first came across to the mosque, read his Fajr Salah, and then he went over and he casted his vote. And secondly, when he was appointed, and in my opinion, it is the most important cabinet appointment that any president can make, that of justice. when that first appointment was made, his first speech to the world came from Masjidul Quds at the Sunday Forum. Our recipient tonight, ladies and gentlemen, wife, mother to Rustam, Kemal, and daughter Fazlan, particularly during the darkest days, and more for the young people today, because we need to be reminded that the darkest days were indeed very, very dark. For Uncle Dalla and our recipient, it was assassination plots, detention without trial, banning, and even food poisoning. She was his bedrock, a pillar of strength not only to the husband, but to the ideals of the husband, a fighter for liberation on the principles of dignity, morality, integrity, and ethics. It appears as if those ideals are very short nowadays. A freedom fighter in her own right. The genes run in her side of the family as well. We heard earlier on about the 1956 Women's March. 20,000 ladies marched to the Union buildings, only asking for one thing: dignity. The leaders of that march included Lillian Ngoyi, Helen Joseph, Albertina Sisulu, and one lady by the name of Rahima Musa, after whom a hospital is named in Gauteng. And many of you will find it to be an absolute surprise that Rahima Musa is the sister of our beloved recipient tonight. Truly a woman of tremendous worth and courage, a woman of tenacity, a woman of morality, a woman who is dedicated to the principles of passion for the cause that she believes in. But ladies and gentlemen, above all that, a woman, as recent events have just proven, who is keeping the flame of conscience alive in our country today. 61 years after that momentous march, today, you and I and all of us collectively, we honor, and I ask you for your hands, please, Hajani Farida Omar. Can I kindly request Mr. Pravin Gordhan and the Assistant Secretary of Masjidul Quds, Ms. Leila Parker, to kindly come forward. Can we have a special hand for Mr. Pravin Gordhan, please, ladies and gentlemen? Just do the presentation first.
Oh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I thank Allah Ta'ala for giving me the opportunity to be here today. May He bless this gathering. I chose His blessings on our beloved Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And happy Women's Day to all the women. I feel very proud to say that my sister Rahima Musa was one of the 5 women who led the march with 20,000 women to protest against the apartheid government passed laws in 1956. Now, most importantly, I want to say a very big thank you to the chairperson of the Masjidul Quds Mosque, Mr. Sattar Parker, the committee members, Dr. Usman Bray, Dr. Wahab Bardey, and Mr. Siraj Parker, for giving me this great honor and presenting me with this beautiful award. But I want to say something in return, that Allah Ta'ala will give His greatest blessings to all of you for doing such good work. And may the Masjidul Quds Mosque grow from strength to strength. Now, the chairperson, Mr. Satar Parker, has asked me to say something about myself. First of all, I am an old lady of 79 years of age. But unfortunately, I have no formal education, and I come from a very poor home. When I was 6 years old, I went to school for the first time in my life. My school was called St. Mary's Anglican Church School in Woodstock. When I was 12 years old, my mother passed away, and I had a very sickly father. At the age of 13, I went to work with my sister at the Salt River Market, selling fruit and vegetables, getting up very early in the morning and coming home late at night. But when I was 20 years old, I met the man of my dreams, Farida Omar, a young lawyer, a young lawyer doing his articles. We fell madly in love. We got married, and the first thing he said to me was, "Farida, you are not going to work on the market anymore." I was so happy and excited, but unfortunately, my luck was not on my side. I worked there for another 30 years of my life. On the other hand, he became a brilliant lawyer, working mostly for the poor who needed his help, also representing high-profile cadres of the liberation movement. In 1985, tragedy struck our lives. The security police came to arrest Dala. 6 of them came into the house, searching each and every room, and our house was surrounded from the outside. Meantime, our phone was ringing constantly by comrades asking, "Where is Dala?" because so many other comrades are being arrested at the same time. I told them he is not home. Then Essa Musa phoned me, asking me, "Where is Dala?" I told him the security police of the apartheid government is busy detaining him at this moment. They are here for the last 6 hours searching our home. Then a policeman came forward and took the phone away from me. Eventually, they took Dala away. He was in prison for 3 months under the Internal Security Act, Section 29. That means no one was allowed to see him, nor did we know where he was being held. When he was released, he was given strict banning orders. I remember one was, he was not allowed to leave the magisterial district of Wynberg. That meant he can't go back to work because his chambers was in Cape Town. He was just out of prison for 2 weeks, then they came back in the middle of the night to re-detain him, this time under the state of emergency. He was held at Victor Verster Prison in Paarl for another 3 months. Meanwhile, the wives and families of the detainees have organized the Detainees Parent Support Committee, who were very active, organizing marches, protests, and fundraisings. On 2 occasions, we were beaten up, arrested, and put in jail. But we never gave up. We continued fighting for their release. Lastly, I want to say, we were married for only 42 years, then Allah Ta'ala took him away from me. We have 2 sons, a daughter, and 5 beautiful grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Truly and absolutely remarkable lady. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your hands for all our recipients tonight. Thank you so much. I now call upon a man who officially is former finance minister, but in my dictionary, he is still the finance minister. Because he is also the conscience of the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome to the microphone Mr. Pravin Gordhan.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening, Molweni, to all of us that are present here today. And in particular, may I thank the trustees of the Masjidul Quds, I'm trying to get the pronunciation right, for this opportunity to say a few words after this wonderful award to Mrs. Omar and to all of the recipients that are receiving one or other form of recognition here today as well. I also want to recognize the presence of Mr. Derek Hanakam, who is the original brave man who got us going to resist corruption, who is present here. To Mrs. Louise Asmal and to colleagues from Parliament that are present here as well. Let me not forget, in case Judge Siraj Desai is in the audience already, the judiciary as well, although I don't have to be worried too much about the relationship between the executive and the judiciary too much these days. But he's an old friend. We first met at the University of Durban, Westfield in 1972, if I'm not mistaken, and a little bit earlier as well. So a recognition to him. But today is Women's Day, so happy Women's Day to all of you. Can all the men stand up and give a round of applause to the women? Thank you very much. I think we need to do that more often, don't you agree? Reference was made to the 1956 March of Women to the Union buildings demanding dignity and human rights for themselves and for others in South Africa. At that time, this famous quotation became their leitmotif, their mission. And it said, "Now you have touched the women. You have struck a rock. You have dislodged a boulder. You will be crushed." It took a few years after 1956 to crush the apartheid regime, but through the efforts of Dalla Omar and many others in our country, indeed, we've crushed this terrible system of apartheid that has befallen us. But Dalla Omar and the family, the Omar family, and in particular Mrs. Omar, who just received the award, represent for us integrity of the most important kind, represent courage, because he had to survive those detentions, as did the family, visit Mr. Mandela on Robben Island, amongst other responsibilities that he had, be principled in the way he conducted himself. But you know, in today's world, you can be a person of principle, but you need one more ingredient to actually make a difference, and that is to have courage as well. Because it takes courage to act on the principles you have. And that courage is what those people who stood up either silently or otherwise and did the right thing as far as the motion of no confidence was concerned the other day. The Moulana and I will have to debate this a little bit, but I'm sure we'll provide ourselves with an opportunity to actually do so. So in recognizing Mrs. Farida Omar, you recognize Dalla Omar, but you recognize those qualities that we require both in leaders but in our communities as well today. And one should not talk lightly about the kind of impact that the experiences of and during the apartheid period that families went through, and the kind of courage that they required, the kind of encouragement that they needed to provide to their partners or to their children, without which encouragement those activists wouldn't have had what it takes in order to stand up to what apartheid had to offer at that time. And it was that period during which torture, detention, as Mrs. Omar just described, and many worse things, even death, was the result of activism during that particular period. In today's South Africa, whilst we talk, about our past, whilst we've, over the last 23 years, I think, done remarkable work in this country. Remarkable progress has been made in terms of our constitution, our courts, the kind of services we provide to the vast majority of South Africans who were excluded, both from the economy but also from basic things like education, health, housing, clean water, and decent living conditions, although there are many that still need to be provided with better services as well. So that progress is a remarkable thing that we have done. And that's the foundation on which our future generations will build upon. But equally, we must be frank that that period of struggle that we have talked about in the past is being revived in some ways and is testing us today as well, because there's a contest going on in today's South Africa between those who want to use public resources, that's your tax money. Now, I'm not a tax commissioner any longer, so I don't have to talk about uplang and things like that here. Right? But it's utilizing your tax money in a way in which it benefits a few, in a way in which it's finding its way to bank accounts all over the world, including Dubai. I hope too many of you don't visit there too frequently. And where state-owned institutions are supposed to be contributing to increasing investment in our economy so that our economy can grow, so that that growth in our economy provides jobs for young people and gives people hope in terms of earning their own income, but the dignity of earning their own income as well, so that they can live decent lives and give their families decent lives. And you can estimate, ladies and gentlemen, anything between 100 billion and 200 billion rands has been lost over the last few years to the system. And so this contest between what has become known as state capture, and you can call it money capture as well, means that a new kind of struggle needs to be waged, a struggle that reestablishes integrity in our system, reestablish the trust of citizens in government, and that includes all of us who are in government, and reestablishes the fact that governments are there to serve citizens, not themselves. And in the process of serving citizens, it's equally important, and this has become a pattern in many parts of the world, where the top 1% or the top 10% nowadays owns an amount of wealth that is equal to between 50 and 70% of the wealth of the rest of the citizens, whether you look at it at a global level or whether you look at it at a country level. That's the phenomenon that globalization and modern capitalism has actually created for ourselves. So, amongst the choices that we need to become very aware of is what kind of respect are we going to have for the Constitution and the rule of law? Are we going to show the kind of respect where criminals can steal as much as they like, they can take as much as they like, they can break as many laws as they like, but nobody will get prosecuted for that, as you can see? How are we going to meet the challenge of more inclusive growth? And by that we mean that growth, and this is again a challenge globally, but for ourselves as well, we cannot have an economy that still excludes the majority of South Africans. So something different needs to be done. Something more innovative needs to be done, building on the kind of foundation that we've laid over the last 20 years that will ensure that the next 20 years results in an economy that is far more inclusive than the one that we have today. And let me end by saying that that kind of inclusivity is going to be absolutely crucial to ensuring that the poor don't continue to remain poor, that they begin to progress in life, earn an income, have some assets in their possession, have wealth of a different sort, but wealth that they can pass on to future generations. Whereas in South Africa today, what we pass on from one generation to the next is poverty. We need a South Africa where either the current generation or the very next generation needs to pass on something better, needs to pass on some assets, particularly amongst our poor communities, so that the future generations actually have assets of their own. And so we hope that all of you will also become active in one form or another, just as your communities have been active, as you can see this evening, in so many different ways, both on the cultural side, the religious side, but also in terms of the contribution that many of you have made to attaining human rights and democracy in South Africa. So let's hope that we move from the current brand of politics, if you like, to a politics of hope, a politics which says to young people today, you don't have to leave South Africa, stay here, because you have both a duty and a responsibility to ensure that you build on the foundations created by Farida Omar and many others, and create a better South Africa for the 55 or 60 million people that that we will have. And once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening on my behalf. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call upon one of our trustees, Mr. Liaquat Sonde, together with two of the committee members, Mr. Ishtiaq Badruddin and Mr. Mehboob Roika, to kindly come up on stage, present a book titled The History of Masjidul Quds, as well as a coin to Mr. Pravin Gordhan.
It's not dollars of gold, eh?
And it's all declared.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the awards function for this evening. Mr. Gordhan needs to leave. Like I said, we could not manage the helicopter, but he will be with us just for a short while, and then he's got to make his way to the airport. So can we give him a warm round of applause as he will be departing? Wishing him all the best for this very noble cause that he has promoted in our country, and that we all, I'm sure, each and every one of us align with. With that, we've come to the end of the awards function. We will now get ready to lead or to perform Salatul Maghrib, which is at 12 minutes past 6. Anyone needs to take wudu, there are ablution facilities upstairs. After that, when you come back, there will be a 15-minute spiritual presentation by this violin maestro. 15 minutes, it's absolutely mesmerizing and riveting. After that, we will all enjoy supper together, and thereafter desserts and coffee and tea and Milo and whatever you need will be here for you. Thank you so much. May you all be blessed. Assalamu alaikum. Now it gives me great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you a musician who has flown in from Bombay. He's an absolute maestro on the violin, as you will see a little later on. He will be playing for 15 minutes before supper and 15 minutes after supper. The first item, or the first sector, the sector before supper, will be devotional instrumental items, and in the second segment will be more light-hearted, filmy stuff. So he's going to open up, but before we do that, can I ask you to please, in the form of a typical Cape Town welcome, welcome Mr. Iqbal Hussain Warsi on the violin all the way from Bombay. With him we have Mr. Mohan Bula on the tabla and Mr. Pregasan Govender also on the tabla. The first item, sometimes we human beings think that only we can call out to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will now hear how a violin calls out to the Supreme Maker. The first item is Allahu, Allahu. Bismillah. The second item is a song that is normally sung at primary school assemblies in India, written by the acclaimed Urdu poet Allama Iqbal. Jagjit Singh, the great ghazal maestro who passed away, retuned this particular item and it became an international hit. And I'm sure those who may not even be familiar with the Urdu language, when the tune is played now, memories will come back of an item that is very, very popular on our radio stations. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Iqbal Hussain Warsi. The next item, ladies and gentlemen, all of you who love Qawwali, particularly those who are fanatics of the great Qawwals of the days gone by, Sabri brothers, Sheikh Sadullah, this is particularly for you. I know you love them. Tajdari Haram. Second last item, ladies and gentlemen, second last item. Again, a Sabri Brothers classic, Bhar the Joli. And ladies and gentlemen, the final item in the segment, like the same violin called out to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this same instrument now is going to sing the praises of our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Nabi, salam alayka. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, your hands for Mr. Iqbal Hussain Barsi. All right, we are now ready for supper. Let me just mention that we have a number of buffet stations outside. The first 4 tables on that side, there are buffet stations in the room next door. And the rest of the gathering, if you can kindly move out into the foyer. Every station has got the same array and same display of food. It's quite comprehensive. Take your time, do justice to the time and effort that's put into putting this menu together. So with that, I think we are all now really waiting to have our supper. Can I please ask the people on that side to slowly start moving, going into the hall on your right-hand side as you come out, and the rest of us can now proceed into the foyer. Thank you so much. We will now commence with the next 15 minutes of our instrumental segment. The first item is one that everybody loves. It's a song from a very popular movie, and I think you will all enjoy this while you are continuing with your supper. Thank you. The next item, ladies and gentlemen, is a special request by Sheikh Sadullah Khan. He would like Iqbal Bhai to dedicate an item tonight for all our beloved mothers here in the audience. Tu kitni achhi hai. Before I introduce the next item, ladies and gentlemen, just to inform you that you can go into the foyer later on and check out a 360-degree virtual tour presentation of the mosque. It's about 5 to 7 minutes long, something very, very interesting. There's been a number of you that's asked for this particular item from the movie Shore, and I'm sure you are all going to enjoy it very much. It's a very, very popular song. The next item, ladies and gentlemen, again, very, very popular, going back many, many years, from the movie Nagin, Dr. Muhammad Dokrat. This one is especially for you. Ladies and gentlemen, before I ask Iqbal Bhai to do the last item, just want to mention that Mr. Iqbal Hussain Walsi is here for a series of concerts this coming weekend. The one is at the Eon Group on Saturday, and the second one at the Islamia Auditorium on Sunday. The show is called Sham-e Ghazal. It's a tribute to some of the great ghazal maestros from India. Saturday night, the house is almost completely sold out. Sunday, there are still some tickets available from A1 DVD Center in Ruth Road, Drylands, and he is the main man supporting and providing the music. We also want to thank Mr. Ahmad Jacobs of Market Toyota for having made available a very luxurious van for all the musicians to be able to ride around while they are here in Cape Town. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I call upon Mr. Iqbal Hussain Barsi to now present the final item of his segment here, the entertainment segment for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you once again to put your hands together for Mr. Iqbal Hussain Barsi, Mr. Mohan Bola and Mr. Pregasan Govender. Thank you very much to all of you and all the best for the show coming this weekend. Can I now call upon Mr. Dawood Kaji, our Secretary General, to kindly come forward and move the vote of thanks, followed by desserts. Mr. Dawood Kaji, vote of thanks, to be followed by desserts and tea and coffee and Milo and whatever else we require. Also some Can we just have your attention, please, while we conducting the vote of thanks? Your attention, please.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are grateful to the Almighty for allowing us to have this function today. I've been honored with the task of giving the vote of thanks for today's function. I wish to thank all the sponsors and the corporate world for supporting us today and today for functions and over the years. A big thank you to Hafiz Mahmoud Khatib for organizing a beautiful venue to host this function, and also Tasneem and our team of Century Conference Center for their kind assistance. Thank you to Gary and Glenn of Century City who went out of their way to facilitate and getting this wonderful venue for us today. Also thank you to Jane and Doug Moore for the in-house sound, Nazmi Skruder for the video, Sharafat Jaffa for the photography. Also need to thank Rabia Parker, Zubaida, Saibu Nisa Sunday, Waroldia Kaji, Yasmin Vasda, Faiza Surway, Perween Badruddin, Julie Sunday, and helpers for their unselfish assistance with the preparation of some of the exotic food items on this menu. Also thanks to Liaquat Sunday, his assistant Fatima at the office, Ishtiaq Badruddin, Mehboob Roika for the kind assistance. A huge thank you to Nizam of La Elegante Caterers for always being there for us and doing an excellent job for tonight's function and for the past 28 years. We appreciate the presence of our guest of honor, Mr. Pravin Gordhan, at today's function. Also a big thank you to our Imams, Sheikh Fuad, Sheikh Alexander, Sheikh Yasin, together with Sheikh Sadullah Khan, for always assisting us when needed. I would be failing my duty if I do not thank Sata Parker for doing a tremendous job in coordinating this whole function. Lastly, I want to thank all the committee members and trustees for their hard work, dedication, and putting this function together. May the Almighty Allah bless them all and grant them success in future endeavors, inshallah. Thank you.
Well done, well done. Thank you very much, Mr. Dawood Kaji, our Secretary General. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for desserts, time to unwind. Please carry on enjoying yourself, those around you, and whatever is on the table still for you to enjoy. Thank you very much for being here. It's highly appreciated. May Almighty Allah be with each and every one of you. Shukran, shukriya, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.